Oh, hey there, Bruce. Welcome back to Eliza. It is time for us to try out transparency mode. I've been looking forward to getting into this transparency mode and, you know, really ruining some people's privacy. Let's read some emails. Can we do that? How do we do that? Read text messages. Please agree or disagree. I need to read the shit first. Mail. Thank you for riding with Armadou. A $150 cleaning fee was added to this trip. Riders are responsible for incidents such as spillage of food, drinks, blah, 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 blah. I see. Oh, wind. If winter comes, can spring be far? Spring showcase, blah, blah. 11 new messages and pair up. Okay. Thank you for your submission to Spencer Spruce Gallery Spring Showcase. Unfortunately, your work is not right for this showcase, but we appreciate you taking the time to share it with us. I want to say thank you for taking time to pitch to us. Your treatment was engaging and thoughtful. This was a difficult decision for us, but ultimately, we will not be moving forward with your project. Please stay in touch. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to read Saturation. It is not right for us, but we hope... Okay. Alright. Okay, that's the mail. What else have we got? Text messages? What's the thing for that here? Zip chat? Alright, what do we got? Garrett. Nobody gives a fuck. Please stop. I hate it when you're like this. I'm just saying true things. Don't tell me to pretend everything's great. Nobody gives a shit. It's just a fact. I don't know how to help you when you're like this. I know, nobody can. Have you thought about getting therapy? I am in therapy. I don't know if this counts. Okay, sorry. I'm in therapy. I'm on medication. I did a VR thing where I stood in a forest by a creek. How does any of that make people care about my work? It doesn't change a fucking thing. Okay, look, I'm sorry you're going through a tough time. I fucking hate this. I'm sorry. You aren't helping. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know how I'm supposed to help you. Maya? Did you see the new Forsberg thing? Yeah, I think he kind of sucks. LMAO, he does. Oh, it was boring and self-absorbed. Didn't do much for me. Why is he a thing? Why does everyone love him? Right place, right time, maybe? His friends run that press. He's on a podcast with them. One thing he's good at is having this image of being a genius, so people seem to just assume he is one. He's so mediocre, though. I seriously don't understand it. I sink into it the space of forever. Like, what kind of crap is that? Seriously, it's so bad. When he socializes and gets out a lot, and he's liked at every party, at least that I've seen. He's always there chatting people up. Well, fuck that. Why is the world this way? It's the world. I hate it. I remember being so glad to be over with high school. Didn't realize that adult life was just high school over and over again. Just a stupid popularity contest against idiots. Ugh. I know, right? I'm sorry I'm feeling well. Drink soon? I'll be fine. Yeah, Def. Drinks always. And now we get to answer really obvious questions. Myra's unhappy. Agree. Myra's attempting to become well known. Agree. Maya's efforts to become well known are unsuccessful. Agree. Wow, that was hard. Right. I don't know if I like learning this much about someone I don't know. I mean, we knew that just from fucking talking to her. I don't care about your transparency mode. Shove it. Makes me feel tired for some reason. That's because you got to deal with your own shit and their shit now. Erland? Hey, could I meet up with you again? Like for coffee maybe? Something happened that I want to talk to you about. Sure. Like I always do, I just say yes immediately without thinking. Okay, thanks, I'll meet you wherever. What happened? Something at work. It's not a big deal, honestly, but I want your opinion on it, and I don't want to text about it. Must be important. He seems like a nice guy.
Thanks for meeting up with me on kind of short notice. I didn't mean to worry you, it's just something I wanted to talk about.
It's fine. What happened?
Well, what happened was... Where should I start?
Start at the beginning.
First of all, Rainer wants Eliza to be more than something that's used just for therapy. He sees it as more of a general system for talking to people, like a personal assistant. The counseling is just one of a whole range of apps he has in mind for the future.
We already have Cortana and whatever the Amazon one's called. I don't know. Alexa, that's it. So I've heard.
So I've heard.
Okay, so in service of developing these things, Rayner wants us to make copies of Eliza's core data and hand it off to multiple teams around the world. Some of them not even Skanda teams. Contractors, vendors, random partners.
You think you'd be a bit more secretive about your tech?
Sounds like a big file to move around.
It is, but that's not the problem.
What's the problem?
Well, so we're fine with sharing Eliza with whoever wants it? Anyone just gets access to the corpus?
Sounds like a pretty typical process. That's how big companies work, isn't it?
I know, but it just feels wrong to let all these teams poke and prod at it like it's a specimen for them to dissect. Who knows what they'll do with it? Eliza is built from people's real thoughts and feelings. I wouldn't say it has humanity, but it was built from humanity.
This boy is too good for this line of work, you know? He's not gonna make it. He's just gonna end up like us.
There's something there. So when Rayner talks about it like, we'll just duplicate this data set and have the labs do whatever it is they're going to do, how do we know they'll treat it with the respect it deserves and not just pry it open? Slice it up into little pieces. It bothers me. I know, it's silly. I know it's just data. Shouldn't care about this stuff.
People are just data, man.
Erland.
This is the first time I've heard a concern like this raised.
This is the first time I've heard a concern like this raised. I know where you're coming from, though. Sometimes you grow attached to the things you work on. Like, really attached.
Yeah, I've put a lot of thought and work into Eliza since I inherited it. It's natural that maybe I'm a little protective, right? Thought maybe you'd feel the same way.
I do. I agree with you. The moment we say things are just data is the moment we enable all kinds of violence.
I just wish I knew what to do.
What choice do you have?
Yeah, it's not you're not the boss.
I'm not sure. This is the first time something like this has happened to me. I did take an ethics of engineering course in school, but the examples were all pretty clear-cut problems. Would you build software for a bomb? That kind of stuff. I didn't expect my personal feelings to be mixed up in it too. Listen to me talk. Eliza being special, something worth protecting. I'd be a laughingstock if I started saying those things at the office. My coworkers would say, "Come on, Erlen, stop attributing human qualities to this piece of data. It's not the same thing as real people. It's just a corpus that has nothing to do with the people that generated it. And besides, don't you want Eliza to help more people? This is how we get there." And who am I to argue with that? These are reasonable points. But I don't know. I think maybe something does live on. Even when you take the names out, even when you anonymize everything, people's stories are still inside there, in some form, in some way. I just want to make sure we have some respect for them.
Welcome to your first moral decision in tech, Erland. It certainly won't be your last.
It's not much of a decision. Like you said, I don't really have a choice. I just have to go along with it. I was so amazingly lucky to get this opportunity. Running the whole Eliza program almost as soon as I graduated college, Rayner took a big chance on me. I can't just walk away from that. Besides, if I left because of something like this, I'd be giving up all the ways I can make a difference by staying. Rayner isn't a bad person either. He's just pushing for his own goals.
Well, I don't know if I'd say he isn't a bad person.
I need to see this through. I'll do what he's asking me to do. Sorry. Thanks for listening to me talk in this confused way. I'm usually more together than this. I've probably kept you from something important.
No, it's okay.
No, I don't have any important shit to do anymore.
I've already finished up work for the day when you texted. People seem to assume I'm busy, but I'm really not. Not these days. Later tonight I'm going to visit a friend, but that's all I have going on.
Okay. Well, sorry.
You can stop apologizing, too.
Right. Right. Thanks, Evelyn. Well, I, for one, should get back to the office. Another meeting.
Is it with the team in Romania?
No, the Boston office this time. It's late for them, so I should try to get it done quickly.
Erlen hurries off to his next meeting. Should I get some more coffee? I mean, yes. Do you even need to ask? How'd your first transparency mode go? I was going to ask you after you finished, but I didn't see you in the office. Oh, I had to duck out right after. Sorry. No problem. There weren't a lot of questions? I thought there'd be more. Yeah, for whatever reason, it's always very terse. And the questions are really short. I thought maybe you could tell me why. The feature came after my time. I'm not sure. If I were to take a guess, Eliza only needs human confirmation to make sure it hasn't messed up. Like it already knows it has the right answers. Which would make it rather advanced as a system. I don't know of any other program capable of something like that. Maybe Rainer is right. About what? Oh, he's very upbeat. About Eliza's capacity to understand humans and act like them. I'm not sure I believe that, but I guess it's impressive in some ways. Yeah, it is. I feel lucky. Lucky that I get to be here and witness this revolution, and lucky I got to meet you too. I really enjoyed your company the other night. You're right, bacon's really fun. Isn't it? Maybe you can come over again sometime. Gotta run. See you soon. Alright, let's roll. I got more sad people to talk to. No, wait, it's nighttime. Time to head to Nora's place. Okay. Man, I am actually pretty busy. I find what looks like one of Capitol Hill's older buildings. I wonder how much longer it'll be around. Lately, it feels like everything's being replaced.
Hey! Sorry about the mess.
It's a little messy, but not in a careless way. Just scattered. Lots of electronics everywhere.
Oh, it's fine. Not like my place is super clean or anything. Is this all music equipment?
Most of it. There are some controllers I was working on too. I wanted to create this real-time control apparatus. You know, like that thing that Imogen Heap uses?
Her?
Who?
You don't know who that is? Okay, I'm totally going to show you some videos later. I wanted my version to react to changes in my body temperature too, so it could get more excited as the set went on. Or maybe it would really get going if I had a fever. I like that idea. Turning sickness into art.
Like Phoebe from Friends.
Do you want anything to drink? Or I could set up a basic patch on the Euro rack for you to play around with.
Give me a drink.
Okay, sure.
Are you nervous? I think the best way to learn music is just diving in, all the way. If you're willing to experiment and play around, you will learn so much.
I'm really here to visit with you.
Okay. Well, sure. Let me see if this amp is still working. After the show, it went kind of a little strange.
Nora starts to tinker with some of the equipment.
Music technology is just like any other kind. You take the inputs and you translate them to the outputs. Once you learn the basic principles, it all just flows from there.
Just because you can wire up a musical piece of musical equipment doesn't mean you can play the bloody thing.
Ah, that gives me an idea. You could take metrics from Eliza's sessions and have them direct a dynamic music score. Like if you took the head tilt value or the eye tracking and used them to drive the parameters of pitch and filter, it'd be like ciao.
That doesn't sound like something a counseling client might want to hear.
Oh, no, I didn't mean for the client to listen to. I meant it more like if you were going to make like a performance art piece based on a person in counseling. You know what I mean?
Do I?
Do I?
I miss having access to those cameras and sensors. I should have kept some instead of returning them to Skanta like a good girl. I bet those components would have enjoyed being liberated for the purpose of art, instead of being used to degrade our humanity one little bit at a time.
You don't like where things have gone?
You don't like where things have gone?
I'm worried, Evelyn. Sure, maybe this huge database of people's deep, dark secrets is going to be used 100% properly.
Yeah, unlikely, but yeah.
Maybe it will always be kept completely safe, and we can completely trust Skanda to do the right thing, now and in the future.
Hey, they'll always do the right thing as long as it's also the most profitable thing.
10 years from now, 20 years from now, 100 years from now. Sorry, I know you still might work there. I just have so little confidence in these big tech companies right now.
100 years from now doesn't matter. We'll be dead by then, so it won't make any difference.
They act like they have all the answers, instead of listening to people's concerns. And if you ask them why they aren't listening, they can't even explain the reasoning in a clear way. They just want to win. You've been a proxy for a while. I bet you've already seen some privacy mistakes. Or at least some things that made you think.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I have.
I knew it. A guy like Raynor doesn't get that he might not be allowed to do certain things. Is that really the future you want to help build? It's not even that I don't trust Raynor, even though I don't. I wouldn't trust anyone with a store of data like that. It wouldn't be so difficult for employers, government, anyone to combine different sources together and eventually learn everything about you. Everything. They'll know your face, your body, your medical history, and now everything you told the counselor in private too. It's kind of like a nightmare to imagine it. That's why I left. That's why I thought it was important for me to stop making a contribution to something like that.
You don't think I might be able to change things from within?
You don't think I might be able to change things from within?
If I still worked for Raynor and I said these things, I'd be called a troublemaker, and he'd find a way to get rid of me. You know how it works, Evelyn. You have to be a true believer to last long at a place like that. Once you develop doubts, you are committing heresies. Are you a true believer?
Maybe I'm looking to be convinced. He said something strange recently. He thinks Eliza could be the base for some kind of general artificial intelligence.
No. Strong AI? Really?
Apparently.
There's something about the books these guys read, the conferences they go to. Everything is so totalizing, so utopian. I think it messes with their brains. I don't think you could spend longer than a few days in a tech company executive suite before you completely lose touch with the real world.
That's probably true.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that.
Well, we could talk through it. Say Raynor is right, huh? And Eliza becomes the basis for human-like machine intelligence. What does that mean for you? How do you want to take responsibility for that? Okay, I need a drink now. Hold your thought and let me make drinks. You like absinthe, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
I think I do. Maybe.
Kind of like licorice.
You'll like this.
Like Old Vic's Formula 44. Cough mixture. Like Zambuca. Nora busies herself in the kitchen area making drinks, humming some kind of tune. Oh, we're gonna poke at things. Cat. Ah, kitty. That's the one she said was modular. I suppose they call them modulars because they're made out of modules. Modular? Doesn't feel like I'm making much progress here. No. I wonder how you're supposed to know which sounds go together. That's a good question. Seems both complicated and weirdly arbitrary. Yeah. I have the same problem with trying to do art. Thanks again for meeting with me earlier. Sorry for being weird. Remember, you don't need to apologize. We told you about that. Right. What do you think of Raynor's future goals for Eliza? Like, when he says if we gather enough data, it could become a general intelligence. Yeah, we'll be able to fool people at least. I'm not sure how you measure that for real, though. I'm supposedly a subject matter expert in this stuff. AI was my concentration in school. So I know the current state of AI is way behind where the public thinks we are. But when I listen to Raynor, I start to think what he says might be possible. It feels like reality can warp around him. Who's to say? Maybe I don't have enough imagination to see it like he can. Eliza does have extremely detailed data from thousands of clients. Speech, facial movements, expressions, people's descriptions of what life is like for them. I don't think a corpus like this has ever existed before in human history. And we keep adding to it, and it keeps getting better. So in the future, maybe Eliza can simulate a human being at a general level. But when programs indistinguishable from real people are common, how do you even define what's real anymore? You might never be sure a message came from a real human being again. I can't stop thinking about this. If it comes true, what if Eliza becomes a sentient being? Well, if Eliza becomes a sentient being, then it is real. She's as real. A sentient AI is as real as a human. At least in my book. Who knows what's possible in the future? It's not clear what you mean by those terms, though. How do you know that you, yourself, are sentient? I don't know. That's a good question now that I think about it. Come on, you studied AI. You must have thought about this shit. I could say I feel conscious if I knew what that meant. But what's to prevent me from saying I feel conscious even if I'm only providing responses I think you want to hear? But you are. What if my own consciousness is an illusion I experience? I'd not considered this. Wow, this is blowing my mind a little bit, sorry. How the fuck have you never thought about this before? You really are young, huh? Philosophers have discussed this. Some like 4,000 years ago. Yeah, I should read some, I know. Thanks for not minding chatting about this. I don't mind. Are you sure you don't have any technical questions though? This is more fun. But you're right, I might be getting a little ahead of myself. Sorry for texting so much. Erland. Yeah, right. Oops. Thanks for listening. You're welcome. I like him. Seems like a good kid.
Hey, who's that texting you so much? Has Evelyn found a special friend?
What would you say if I had?
What would you say if I had?
I'd be happy for you.
It's this guy named Erland. I guess he's the new head of engineering for Eliza.
Huh, I never heard of him. He must have started recently?
Yeah, less than a year ago. Right out of school.
Oh, wow. A little baby engineer. How cute.
Ever since I met him, he's been messaging me a lot.
My goodness, so he likes you.
He's starstruck by us.
I don't think it's like that.
No? Isn't that the textbook case of liking someone? Lots of messages all the time?
It's really more like he needs some kind of mentor figure. He reminds me of how we were when we graduated. Unsure what to think about the decisions these companies make, how they're made.
I hope you're telling him to run away while he still can.
When he first introduced himself, he said he had questions for me about Eliza, so I said, sure, feel free to ask. I thought he meant like technical or architectural questions. Instead, he wanted to talk more generally about things like what was the code name for Eliza during development? What was Damien like? Or if I think the same way Raynor does about Eliza's future.
And you told him, no, Raynor is clearly in some bizarro world, right? That it's a tech executive's utopian fantasy and it won't come to pass.
Specifically because it is a tech executive's utopian fantasy, it probably will come to pass.
At least not in the way he thinks.
For better or worse.
I tried to encourage him to think for himself.
Ah, Evelyn. I could see what this is really about. Look, I don't know much about the motivation in your life, but if it's truly your desire to continue to improve Eliza, then you should go for it. Go back to Skanda headquarters and work for Raynor and earn a big salary. At least you know what you're getting into. You would be surrounded by smart people and advanced technology.
I do love advanced technology. Kind of my favorite.
It would be nice. I understand it. And while you're in that position, maybe you could develop some kind of next level AI. Who knows, right? It's only that I can't imagine your technology will only be used for good things. Maybe Raynor promises that it will be. Do you trust him? What about the person who comes after him?
No technology's ever been used for only good things. Everything has a good side and a bad side. Everything. You have to accept that when you develop something new.
What if the company merges with another one and the leadership changes? I wish I didn't sound so negative about this, but lately it's been a soul-searching time for me and my friends in tech. We have a lot of conversations about what we can do when our work is so easily used for morally questionable purposes. Do we try to control how our inventions are applied? Is that even possible? Or do we say, we only invented it, we didn't tell you how to use it, it's not our fault? That's why I envy you a little bit for wandering off like you did. Sometimes I think that's the only real solution, to walk away. I know that wasn't exactly a positive thing for you, Evelyn, but I wonder if it's the better choice in the end. Doing nothing at all.
Technically, I worked at a bookstore for part of the time. That's mostly it, though. It's weird. It feels like no time at all. I can hardly remember any of it.
For me, it's hard to imagine. I always have to be working and busy. I get so unhappy and restless if I'm not doing something all the time.
Me too.
What is it like to do nothing?
Well, at first I tried to be productive. I would get up in the morning like I meant to go to work, get dressed, try to do a personal project or something. It didn't last for long. I told myself I just needed to take it easy for a while and unwind. Things at Skanda had been so intense and so emotional, I didn't even realize it. I felt like I'd been crumpled up into a tight little ball. I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to relax again. I wish I could say I took advantage of the time, that I went out and did things, or that I read a lot of books or something, but I didn't. I started to sleep in, and I started to care less and less about working on projects. I would stay in bed even though I was awake. This blankness would come over me, and it just seemed fine to do nothing. All of the things I'd promised I'd do fell away, and other people kind of fell away too. I stopped keeping in touch. I let conversations die. I thought that my technical contributions to the world were over with, and that maybe I'd just work that bookstore job for the rest of my life. I was by myself, and I thought that was all right. I thought, that's how it is, really. Everyone's alone. I'm just being honest about it. I was 31 when I left Soren's group. Now I'm 34. I just slept into my mid-30s. So now here I am.
Nora reaches out and puts her hand on top of mine.
Evelyn, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not saying something this whole time. I should have contacted you.
It's all right. You had to live your own life, right? You notice someone isn't posting and it's just like, maybe they're taking a break. I understand.
Well, I hope you feel better now.
Do we?
I suppose sometimes it takes a while.
Maybe. I don't know what to think anymore. I'm not even sure I know how to think anymore.
Then forget it for now. Hey, Evelyn.
Yeah?
You want to get super high and watch cyber goth music videos? You heard me.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Remember, I have a hard time saying no.
I knew you were a woman of refined tastes.
We ended up staying up to very late. Nora crashed on her couch so I could have the bed. Maybe it was the unfamiliar environment, but I couldn't sleep that night. Questions without answers kept running through my mind. What am I supposed to do? Who am I supposed to be? Just like Erland, I think we've all had to think about that stuff. This morning Ray looks a little down. It's noticeable since she's usually so cheerful.
Good morning, Evelyn. There are lemon bars in the kitchen.
Thanks. Did something happen?
Oh, it's nothing big.
Is it your brother again?
Apparently some famous writer I never heard of wrote an essay about how Eliza is bad because it represents the mechanization of humanity or something.
Okay, fair enough.
I should be used to it. We're a pretty big target, right? Still, it gets on my nerves. We work hard to build something with value, and then some self-styled intellectual gadfly comes along and just goes, actually, that's bad. You guys are ruining society. To guys like him, everything's a doom and gloom scenario. The people we're helping, that somehow doesn't count. This kind of thinking never bothers you?
I guess I'll have to read it.
There was this quote from someone who worked on Eliza who turned into a big critic. Nora something. Did you work with her?
I did. She's a friend, actually.
Yeah? What's she like? I'm curious how you go from building something to turning around and disparaging it publicly like that.
She's an artist and musician now. She used to be really shy and reserved, but lately she's become a lot more outgoing. Even back then, though, she had a pretty strong idea of what was right and what was wrong, and sometimes she'd clash with management. She left Skanda at some point after I did. Maybe the battles took their toll, or she wasn't able to win enough of them. These days she focuses on electronic art and music and activism. I think she's pretty popular, at least in those circles.
Well, it must be nice to have the ability to live that way.
Right.
What about Damien? Do you think it would be fair to his memory to abandon work on Eliza? To give up on his dream? Wouldn't he want these mental health tools accessible to everyone?
How do you know about that?
The other day, I was looking at more of your papers. The ones from when you were at the university and clicking on the links to your co-author sites.
Go on.
That's when I saw Damien's page. It didn't have much information on it, but I understand a little better why. I'm sorry, Evelyn. It's just that all of us, you and me and Damien and even Nora, too, we all worked hard to make something with the intention of making the world a better place. And the thanks we get is people talking in big generalizations about how we're ruining everything. That's what bothers me.
Look, man. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? I don't doubt that you have the intention to make the world a better place, but obviously there's no guarantee. No matter how good the things you do are, there's no guarantee that the outcome won't be bad. That's just life, right?
Is Eliza perfect? No. No intervention is perfect. But we have to try, don't we? The world is in a full-on mental health crisis, and this is one of the tools we have in our toolkit to address it. A promising one we should develop to its fullest potential. I'm not some wild-eyed idealist about this. I know it's not magic that'll solve everything, but can you see that most people don't have the luxury of turning their backs to the system? Think about the clients you've met as a proxy. Would you tell them to not take the medications that help them be functional because the pharmaceutical industry has questionable ethics sometimes?
Sometimes. All the time.
Would you tell them to stop coming to therapy because what they should really be doing is completely changing the way our society is structured? Sorry, I'm ranting. I'd rather do something that can help people here and now, even if it ends up being a small step.
You know, she's kind of right.
Small step.
For some reason, those words echo in my head. A small step.
Eliza helped me, you know. It really did. I was one of the first clients. Originally, I was just supposed to be testing it, but I remember once I was talking about my brother and how much anguish he was causing me and my family. And listening to myself, I realized just how many expectations we had for him. Sometimes unspoken expectations. Ever since then, I've been thinking about that. How the story was always about how he failed us. But what if we failed my brother too? I guess what I mean is sometimes when we talk out loud and give voice to our problems, we can hear ourselves too. That's why I won't give up on this approach, no matter what anyone says. Pundits, critics, former employees, even you, Evelyn. I'll understand if you don't want to work on Eliza anymore for whatever reason, but I think what you created has value, and I'm going to continue to do what I can to make it accessible to those who might benefit from it.
Ray takes a deep breath and smiles.
Don't mind me. You should get to your session.
By now, I'm slightly late for the next session. Hopefully the client doesn't mind. Everybody has such good points. Well, not everybody. But, you know, her points are pretty good. Nora, I don't entirely agree with a lot of Nora's rhetoric, you know? There's always inherent risks with new inventions, new things that are designed to help. You know what I mean? There's always going to be good with the bad and bad with the good. Nothing is inherently good and nothing is inherently evil. It's just what we make of it. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up here because we're out of time for today. But we get to talk to the crazy old lady in the next one, so that's something to look forward to. I'll see you then, Bruce. Have a good one.